There we go. Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me today, I actually have Charlie with me. Say hello to everyone, Charlie.
Hello.
And tonight, we're actually reviewing a 1997 movie called Face Off, starring John Travolta, and it also stars Nicolas Cage. The premise of the film is basically Nicolas Cage planted a bomb in the LA Convention Center. John Travolta now has to go ahead and go undercover to find out where Nicolas Cage actually put this bomb at. But in order to do that, he has to be Nicolas Cage. So basically, John Travolta goes on ahead. He switches off the face. In other words, he has surgery to remove Nicolas Cage's face and puts it onto his face. Meanwhile, while John Travolta thinks that Castor Troy is actually sleeping, he wakes up out of his coma, and guess what? Then Nicolas Cage becomes John Travolta. So now we have two people switching roles in this movie, playing each other's parts. I thought this movie was really good back in 1997 when I saw this in movie theaters. I had a lot of fun with it. As soon as I knew that was a John Woo film, I was instantly hooked because I love John Woo as a director during that time and even now. So whenever you saw this movie and everything, I know it wasn't in the theater or anything like that. I know that you saw this probably when it was like on VHS, maybe DVD.
Yeah, I think it was about then. 97, I was only 5 at the time, and at 5 years old, I think I saw it years later. I think, like I said, I don't remember exactly when I first watched it. I think I saw a couple of his other movies first. I think the first John Woo movie I probably watched was Hard Boiled, to be honest. That was the first one I remember watching.
Matter of fact, the very first one for me was Hard Target, and then after Hard Target, I instantly went into watching Face Off and everything. But I was also hooked because of the fact that it's a new premise. It was something that hasn't been done before during that time, and also too, seeing Nicolas Cage and John Travolta on the screen. Of course, we also knew we knew him from The Rock. We knew Nicolas Cage from The Rock. We also knew him from Con Air. We knew him from all those other movies that he's done. And then, of course, John Travolta had Broken Arrow under his belt as well. And John Travolta does a fantastic job.
Yeah, as well as great. I think John Travolta's first big action movie was John Woo's Broken Arrow, because at that early in his career, Travolta was known as the musical guy or whatever. Like he's doing like Urban Cowboy to Grease, Urban Cowboy, like Saturday Night Fever, something like that. So he's more of that. So his first big action movie role was Broken Arrow, and that's the first time you get to see him as his ego. He can play when he gets a good script and a good director, he can play a good villain, and he was a pretty badass villain in Broken Arrow. And then to add a little bit more to the plot, earlier on, the reason that I think Sean Archer's actually had a long-going hatred for Castor Troy, because in the very beginning of the movie, he's hanging out with his son on a carousel, and then all of a sudden you see a very interesting looking Nicolas Cage as Castor Troy with a porno mustache, drinking a Coca-Cola, he takes 2 sips of it, and then he's like, it was very weird seeing him look like that, and then 6 years later he looks even younger, which was like, what's up with that? But yeah, so Castor is trying to kill Archer, but he ends up going right through, like a bullet right above Archer's heart, shooting him, and then killing his son, Michael. And that's what started the 6-year, him being like a 6-year, war-torn vet or whatever, just very pissed off to find out about Castor Troy. And then it's the opening of the movie, after you get past that, you go to this epic shootout. I mean, it's just like, what a way to start off a movie by going into an epic shootout, John Woo style, in the beginning. You knew, what John Woo did for Castor Troy in the beginning of the movie, him with a trench coat, and then like when he takes off the trench coat in slow motion, puts the jacket on, you see the two dual golden pistols in his back. Like, they're instantly making him, all right, he's instant God mode. Like in any cheat, like he's instant God mode. Like in that, and in a sense, you got a little gangster vibe from it. In a sense, like he's a gangster in a sense with the dual pistols, and then like just how determined Travolta's character is to take down Castor, like immediately after him playing chicken with the airplane, stealing the helicopter. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I hear a little bit of an echo. Sorry.
Okay.
But I also noticed. Hold on, let me see. I think I still hear an echo. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so I'll remember in the LA Convention Center though too, when he's playing the bomb and everything, he's going over there where the choir is and everything, and that's actually one of my favorite scenes in that whole entire movie, where he's actually pretending to be a priest.
Oh, and God. And he's shaking his head like
he does like the little
he's a pedophile
head banging thing, and then he grabs the girl's ass and
dude, I don't think she was of age. I think she was like maybe 13. Maybe. I don't know.
She was definitely not up to age. I'm gonna be honest with you on that.
No.
But Castor does not care.
No, he doesn't. Like, he knows he's not gonna get caught. But and then like I said, this how fun he's having doing whatever he's doing, setting the bomb and then doing that, and then you see a very pissed off Travolta, like you see him like staring out the window, then reloads then puts his clip in his gun and puts it in his holster, like he knows he's ready for business. And then him being like a complete douche to his team after they're trying to find the guy for him is just like he's just got a lot. And then you see a big highlight of all his achievements, and then you see him all pissed off.
Well, at that point, he's actually obsessed with catching Castor and everything. Like, of course, that's when we find out, like you mentioned before, with the dual pistols. We find him out on that runway and everything, and with the airport. He's playing chicken with the police car, the airplane. And then, of course, he's also coming on to this woman inside the airplane. He goes, "Peach, I can eat a peach for hours." And he goes, "I have a question. Can you suck my tongue?"
And she starts to do it. She's like, and then it's like, and then you don't know until like FBI, and I'm like, oh no. Like, you knew something bad was going to happen. Like, is this one of yours, Sean? And then there's no. It's like, whoops, like the trigger slipped, and then he just froze her out of the airplane. I'm like, man, obviously, Castor hates archers, so the two of them are like they're like a spy versus spy, but a more grittier version of that. And then, and it's just funny to see Castor's reaction. I'm like, "Fly, bitch, fly!" Or like telling the guy, like the captain is like, "Well, I can't fly." Just randomly shoots him.
Because at that point, Sean is actually playing chicken with the plane. He goes, "I can't fly because he's in front of me." He goes, "Fine." Shoots him in the head and everything.
And then he's in the helicopter, and then he's in the chopper, the chopper, and he's landing the plane on the landing strip thing of the plane, and that's why the thing can fly. And this, how nonchalant he pulls out his pistol, like sideways style. And then like how the angle of him being able to shoot the engine out. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm interested to see the behind the scenes of how this training that they're able to do some of the stuff. And then plane crashes. Then we have this epic shootout in the
the plane crashes into a hangar. Yeah. And that was an awesome shootout, because my other favorite thing that happens in there is like, well, I got one bullet. He goes, "Yeah, but you also have one bullet too." And then they have this little face-off, pun intended, of them pointing the guns at each other.
Wow, man, we know our guns really well. It's like, and then like we're just the sequence. As soon as like he gets out, he jumps, takes his dual pistol, starts diving in slow motion, and he's just like this instant god mode, like jumping in slow motion. It's like that's John Woo's specialty, and this stuff is just awesome to see. Like I mean, they make fun of it in that Hot Fuzz movie. Have you ever jumped with two pistols and dual pistols in slow motion and shoot the guy or whatever? And that's what Nick Cage is doing. And he's like taking out cops left and right, and then Pollux tries to get in on it, but not with dual pistols, but with a mini like Uzi or something. And then the two of them get separated. Because and then technically this is all Pollux's fault because he spent stuff with money, and that's what he's like telling us, like, guys, I told you to protect him from him, protect him even from himself. That means that's what the boys are for, so you can't trace anything, because spend money, you got a paper trail, and so this is technically all Pollux's fault. But
right.
that shootout in the hangar is just that, and like this how and then Travolta getting in on it by grabbing the metal chain, shooting it, flying in the air. I mean, it's he's getting in on this, and then right. Of course, Nick.
He's in the zone, man. He's he's in the zone. He's not taking any prisoners or anything like that. And of course, he pushes that red button. I also like it too when
yeah, and then of course Nicolas Cage sliding down. Yeah, him sliding down the rail, the railing, like Chow Fat style shooting, and then the dialogue when the two of them finally meet up. I'm like, it's like, what's the matter, Sean? You not having any fun? Come on, why don't you join our side? We'll blow some shit up. It'll be more fun. And it's just like the dialogue is just like Nick Cage is in his own in this one.
He is, and it doesn't feel like he's playing Nicolas Cage. He really feels like Castor Troy in this one.
Yeah.
Just come on, let's have some fun. Let's blow up some shit. We can do FBI agent for hire.
Yeah.
We'll have some fun.
Yeah, and then yeah.
Then the next thing you know, Sean winds up pressing the button to make the jet engine inside the hangar go off. And then next thing you know it, Nicolas Cage bangs up against the hangar wall and he's unconscious. Yeah. And then that's when they go on ahead and, at first Sean thinks that he's dead because, he banged into the hangar wall and everything. He's unconscious. So that's the first reaction that he's dead. Everybody's throwing a party for him at the FBI headquarters and everything.
And he's not
and he's just a real party pooper when it comes down to that.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, and it's interesting too. It's like, we can discuss it towards when we get to the end of the movie, but the song that Nick Cage is singing is he's crowding out and it's like, oh please Mr. Policeman, don't shoot me, and then him pulling out the knife, but him's the Ready for the Big Ride Baby. I mean, it's that song. That's not the first time that pops up in this movie. It's the beginning, might pop up in the center, and then I think it pops up at the end. And anytime he says it, something bad happens to him.
Yeah, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag pops up quite a bit. A Rolling Stone song comes on as well. Yeah.
But yeah, and then like I said, Archer's not having any of it. He's like, we need to stop celebrating. We need to honor the guys that because you didn't realize they lost a lot of agents to this one guy. I mean, Castor Troy is no joke. When he needs to, he turns into a full on gangster in a sense, and that's what a lot of the parts of the movie, like his gain and stuff, and this De Niro sinisterness of him. He's a gangster, and there's a gangster element in this movie, and that's I remember I wrote a paper for one of my college classes on this movie about how John Woo's really good at intersplicing different genres into this movie. And there's also Western elements into it too. The standoffs, the when they're holding their guns at each other, the standoffs, that's Westerns right there. And then of course the dual pistols and him all red and black and the red the trench coats. That's we're talking about a gangster all within sci-fi elements as well as in a straight up action movie. So it's a lot how he's able to John Woo, he's just one of those few directors that's able to do this with ease, and that's why he's one of my favorite directors, because he can do it and makes you makes you think about what other stuff is in this movie. But I digress.
Exactly. But I really thought whenever I saw this movie and everything in theaters, I was really glued into this film because
Yeah,
and whenever Sean is actually talking to the FBI agent saying that, what are we doing? We need to be honoring the people that passed away, that
hmm
Pastor killed. Then after that, he goes home. He's not even in a good mood to even celebrate with his wife. His wife is very miserable with him and
yeah.
everything too. We actually
His
see
daughter's
that
going
he's
through
not
a crazy. His daughter's all acting all crazy with the different outfits, and like as soon as he comes home, he's hearing the daughter screaming at the mom, "You never have my side." I'm like, "Is that what happened?" She got suspended for starting a fight because some kid made a crack at her outfit, and then he's trying, and he ends up leaving her on hold for 10 minutes while he's going to go catch the guy, and then when he tells her, "I got him, Eve. It's done." And then and then you think, okay,
right.
we're good.
Right, because
And
this is
then,
what this because
yeah,
another thing too is his daughter's going for more of the gothic kind of look back in the 90s and everything, going for that
yeah,
punk rock kind of look. Then also too, his wife's also he's also having to tell his wife, "Look, it's over now. I don't have to do on any kind of undercover missions anymore.
mhm,
It's just you and I now. We're gonna be fine." And then that's when they realize when they put that floppy disk in and everything that they actually
yeah,
have a big problem. That there's a
yeah,
bomb
special
that's
ops.
planted.
Yeah,
Right. There's a bomb that's actually planted at the LA Convention Center. They don't know where the bomb is
yeah,
or
and
anything like that. So yeah,
he's like, oh my god, he seems distraught. Like, oh, I thought we're done with this. So then then one of his agents didn't die, but got clipped on the ear. So he's going through the surgery, and then you meet Colin Fiore's character, and he's the Walsh Institute, and he's the one that comes up with the. You see that you might know that guy over there. He's right because they're reconstructing an ear to put on, so that's more permanent, and that's when they come up with the idea of swapping faces, which is
yeah,
actually kind of at that time was like, what do you mean switching faces? Because John Woo didn't do this as like this is the first time he's done this, because you might think, oh, he did it in Mission Impossible, or in the Mission Impossible, like he didn't direct Mission Impossible 1, he did 2, and 2 came out 3 or 4, like 3 or how many years later? I think it was 3 years, 3 or 4 years
3 years
later
later.
after this one did, and that one isn't it like he's like the face back. No, this is full on surgery that you need to do. So and then showing him then Travolta's like Sean's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, and they say, Sean, you've known that, and the lady there, she's like telling him, you're the one that's been covering in that. We wouldn't have been come to you if you haven't been so obsessed. And Sean's like, it's like, no, I'm gonna go to, like, so, and then he's like, I'm gonna get these guys to talk because that's what I do. And then you see him, the montage of him talking to the Pollux, the sister, his
Right.
best friend Dietrich, and then you see, well, I think Dietrich is the one that always seems to be. He's the one that gets under his skull the most, or gets under his
Right.
skin. He mentions, "Hey, how's your dead son?" Like he was expecting Travolta, like Sean Archer, to pull out his gun and like point it on his head, like we want to know about the casings and stuff. So it's like if there's anybody besides Castor that can really get under his skin, it's Dietrich.
That's true. And then also too, we see him in the interrogation room, throwing him around in the interrogation room, and then from
Yeah,
there, another thing that actually happens is this: he's threatening Castor's sister by taking away her son if she doesn't give
yeah.
she doesn't give it up. But she doesn't
Actually,
know
she's
anything.
not
The
his
only
sister. I think she's his girlfriend. I think she's Dietrich's sister.
Okay, okay, that makes sense now because I know
Yeah,
that before
it's
we
like
speculated that.
yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen it because I thought she. Like, then I was like, no, 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 no. Like I was wrong. She's
Okay,
not Castor's sister. She was like because she was the one that had the relationship with Castor, and that's why it's yeah. So I think it's Dietrich is her brother, and I think she was just a either ex or somebody that was close to Castor.
okay, but at that point, he's actually threatening Castor's girlfriend, and he's like, well, if you don't tell us where this casing is, where this bomb is actually being planted or anything like that, we're going to take your kid away. She's like, I don't even know where this bomb is at.
I haven't
And
seen him in years.
right. And, I can believe her on half of it, where she doesn't know anything, because Castor probably didn't even say, hey, look, baby, by the way, we're going to go on ahead and bomb L.A. At the LA Convention Center.
Yeah.
I don't see him actually talking to her and saying, hey, look, we're going to go on ahead and bomb this place. The only two people that would actually know is his brother and Dietrich. And that's the only two people that would know.
Because Dietrich is the one that provided them the casings of it, like the design and of that. So he's the one that provided them. And then I think Pollux is probably the one that paid for it or whatever. Or
yeah, $1 million, I think.
Yeah, it's $10 million, I think.
Yeah, 10 mil for the casings and everything. And then at that point, now Sean doesn't have a way of actually knowing where this bomb is at. He doesn't know how long this bomb is going to be there before it actually blows up. So now he has no choice but to go under the laser microscopic surgery of switching the faces. But before that, him and his wife actually have a fight before he goes undercover. He goes, look, Abe, I hate to do this to you and everything, but I'm going to have to go undercover. She said, but you said this was the last time. And then they get into a fight. He leaves. And then next thing you know, he has the surgery.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
his boss, you think the person in charge of the thing, all right, this is completely off the books. Can't tell your boss, Victor Lazaro. You can't tell your wife. And he's like, what? Like I said, I mean, they need to, like I said, and then right after, the wife is like, Joan Allen was like, Eve, he's like, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Like they said, you're gonna do whatever you think is right, and that's pretty much. She kind of guilt tripped him, and then he leaves, sees his daughter, puts the blanket over her, and then next thing you know, he's wearing the surgery outfit, and he's talking to his best friend Tito, him talking about this, what's going through, and I mean, he's like, Tito's like, man, I'm in a second thoughts about this one, and Travolta's like, yeah, I am too, but there's nothing I can do. There's no way we're gonna be able to find out. And then he takes off his wedding ring, tells Tito, hold on to this for me, and then of course, and then him telling the doctor, I have a scar right here, it's something that's personal to him because that's where he got shot. And he's like, when we're done with this, I want you to put it back. And the doctor's like, sure. Then you see the surgery, and that one's how they did it was actually kind of interesting. I mean, especially
because first they go on ahead, they use the laser to cut the face around the edges, and then they use a suction mask type thing to actually suck the face off of the person, and then just puts it into some water to where it doesn't dry up or anything like that. And next thing you know, John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, Castor Troy wakes up, and he realizes that he still sounds the same. He also doesn't like the fact that he even looks like Nicolas Cage, Castor Troy, or anything like that. And he's telling everyone, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
And, they have to date him. Yeah,
it's like he's having a PTSD moment at that time.
Realize what have I just done, and then so they did the test. There's a microchip or whatever they implanted in it, to change the voice. And they said any punch to the throat or grab by the neck would dislodge it in the sense, as that's what the doctor said. And then so then they're after they do that, then they're getting them on the helipad, and he's like, my face itches, and then you see the other FBI agents look at Castor, and they said, oh man, Archer's gonna have a field day with this or whatever, not knowing what's really going on. And Margaret Cho's appearance, she does one kick, and that's all the action she gets the whole movie in a sense. Because she was the one that kicks Pollux Troy, and that's how they get him on the ground.
Right. And then also too, they also put a bag over his head, and then they move him over into next. Yeah. Right. Next thing you know it, he wakes up, or whatever they do to him, and he realizes that he's in a holding cell, and it's magnetized. The floor is magnetized with these boots and everything, and that his ass belongs to them now.
Pretty much.
And now and now he has to infiltrate the prison to try and look for his brother, Nicolas Cage's
Yeah.
brother, Pollux, and he finally winds up finding him. And at first, Pollux is actually just looking at him, not sure if you should trust him or not, because he doesn't even sound or makes any type of. Because here's the thing, being undercover is actually hard work to do. You actually have to try and pull it off to where the person doesn't recognize who you are. Not only that, but also make you not seem like you're a cop. The way that Archer was going about it was he was like trying to speed through it, like he can actually just fool his brother, but he has to pick up on the dialogue between him and his brother, things that Castro would actually say to his brother, and also too, if you don't have those things, it can go haywire, and that's also can also lead to the fact that his brother's not going to trust him, and that's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah,
he goes, "Hey, bro, I was just wondering, and everything, where's the bomb located at, or something like that to that degree." But and then he goes, "Well, if I'm really your brother, what pills have I ate? What kind of pills do I use?" And goes, and then at that point, that's when Archer just looks at him and looks away, and as if to say he's in disbelief. Right.
Because I think he has an encounter with like this Garrett Hake guy, which not many people would recognize it until I realized, like, holy crap, that's Thomas Jane, which ironically he's the one that beat up Travolta in The Punisher. So it's kind of like in his early thing, and then the other guy Duval. Like he's like a guy that apparently like Travolta like Castor like he's having a hard time remembering like what did I do to this guy, and then it turns out like and then you find out he had he had sex with his wife and sister the night he went to jail or whatever. So and it's like so they start a fight. And then like Castor's winning the fight, and then he was like he suddenly stopped because it's not really Castor, it's really Archer. And then the security guard, who's just a complete dick, he's like, you don't end the fights, I end the fights. I'm like, okay, you trying to be a tough guy or something?
Right.
Not really.
Well, another thing though too I want to bring up is the fact that with that scene that scene where he's actually beating up the prisoner and everything. Yeah, he had a sex sandwich between him and the guy's sister and the girlfriend and everything. But that scene alone, where he actually just takes him down, hits him with the metal tray, and then he winds up kicking the guy in the balls, and then he goes, "I'm Castor Troy, I'm Castor Troy," and then goes back over there, elbows him in the back, and then hits him again, and then he tries to pick up the tray again, and if he really wanted to actually get on his brother's side and everything, he could have went on ahead and just knocked him the hell out with that tray.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have actually raised any questions. But because he stopped, you can tell the expression on his brother's face. It's like, okay, there's just something off about this. Yes, he was in a coma, but there's just something more to this that meets the eye.
Yeah.
And to me, he should have just went on ahead and went for it since he was already undercover.
Might as well, but then again, that's not who Archer really is, and that's the point. Like, meanwhile, then suddenly, like a comatose faceless Castor, the real Castor Troy, who's now faceless, suddenly wakes up all out of the blue, and then you realize, and he's calling up his buddies like, "Yeah, man, you're not gonna believe this, but yeah, take a wild guess where I am. Like, I'm missing a freaking face. What are you talking about?" Like, he's like there, and then all of a sudden you see a car pull up to that, and it's like his two buddies, like the two buddies you saw earlier in the movie, Pollux's bodyguards. They pull up with the doctor that did it, and he's sitting there just watching like the greatest hits. Sitting there, like, "Oh, bravo, doctor, bravo!" Like he's clapping, and he's like, "Take a wild guess what you think I want to do." And then, because the problem is, the doctor left the face, like, just sitting there, like, out, like, in the room. I'm like,
right.
But you might want to hide it somewhere, or so they won't be able to, I don't know, like, easily be able to attack. And then And so so that happens, and then you don't think of anything of it after that. And then it goes back to the prison, and you see Castor talking to his brother, asking about like what's really going on, where the bomb is. And he goes, and he's talking about like L.A., the convention center. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, he goes, I guess the LA Convention Center is just going to have to do. He goes, thank you. And just,
and then, and he leaves. And like he's expecting this meeting, like, okay, I'm going to get out of this. And then all of a sudden, in slow motion, you see Travolta. Like first, you see like Travolta's body, and then you see him covering up with the newspaper, and then you see his shocked face. I mean, ooh, surprise! Castor Troy is now in Sean Archer's body. Is wearing Sean Archer's face, so he's bringing the persona. And then he goes and shows him with the wedding ring. That's when you realize he killed the 3 people that know what happened to him. The whole organization. The lady who gave him the job, his best friend Tito, who had his wedding ring. Again, if these guys are supposed to be agents or whatever, they're supposed to be like have all this like secret information, like not like public information. How they are able to get maybe the doctor's kind of easy, but the girl, right. We had no idea who she was. She says she's in Spec Ops. I'm like, how did they find you so quickly? Well, Tito, he's an FBI agent. I mean that, but again, how did they find them so quickly? So next we know, you see the images of them being poured with gasoline all over them, tied to a chair, and then you see the lighter. They burned them. So now Sean Archer, now Castor Troy is Sean Archer, and Sean Archer's Castor Troy. It's kind of confusing to describe it, but just remember, Nick Cage is the good guy in this situation now, and Travolta is the bad guy.
Right. And here's the thing. I love it when he's driving through in his SUV and through the neighborhood. And he's like,
and him parking at the wrong house.
Yeah. Well, but no, I like the suburban area, though, that when he's looking around, he goes, this is a fucking nightmare. He's like, and you can definitely tell that he had this image of Archer as this guy who is like happy, gung-ho, that he actually caught somebody and things like that. He had a picture in his mind that he goes home every night and bangs his wife every single time he turns around. And then it's the exact opposite of what he thought it was going to be. Because, and then I like whenever he passes up the house, and then all of a sudden he's listening to the Rolling Stones. He comes back, and his wife goes, "You would think that you would know where you live after 13 years." He goes, "I'm sorry, Eve." He goes, "I'm sorry, Eve. I did not mean to pass the neighborhood, but all this neighborhood always looked the fucking the same." And then after that, he gets out and he goes, "Eve, my peach."
Well,
he goes, "I need to go to the hospital." He goes, "What's wrong? You're sick? What's wrong?" And then he goes, come on, Sean. It's not funny." He goes, "Come on, Eve.
I'm still mad at you."
And then he goes, "Eve, I hate to see you." He goes, "I like to watch you, but I hate to see you leave."
I mean, that's definitely something Castor would say. So he's channeling. And then it was interesting in the prison what Archer, the real Archer, is trying to do. He was choking him by the neck, because in the neck area is where that microchip was. So he was trying to get him to dislodge it, so his real voice would come out, like saying that it's not really Archer. This is Castor Troy. See, that was kind of smart what he was trying to do. So he's still stuck in that, and then you have Castor Troy, and then he's like walking up, sees his daughter like in her underwear or whatever on the phone, and then he just barges he barges in, it's like, "Dad," like, it's like that. I'm like, "I'm coming in now." Like this nonchalant. I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of changes around here, and he like takes a cigarette, starts smoking it, and I'm like,
and dancing
I won't.
Yeah, he's dancing to that James Brown song, "Papa's Got a Brand New Bag." Ow! And then he walks up, he's dancing, and the way he just moves is just smooth. He's like, there's something I have to get, and it's in my way. And I do have to admit, it is kind of awkward watching this scene in a sense because you're dealing with like a preteen teenager. I do have to admit, it did kind of feel uncomfortable on that one.
That one felt weird. And then it goes back to the prison where you see Cat, like the real Archer, upset, like he realized, like, oh my god, I'm gonna be stuck like this. And then he sees his brother like randomly like walk away. He's like, bye, bro. And then he's like, Sean Archer Sean Archer's really like he's doing his greatest hits. He's getting his brother out of jail, and then he gets him off scot free. And then while the other guy's that, and then you see him like then interviewing the brother. He's like, I forgot the quote, or it's like, thank you, next question, or like just randomly talking Castor like to his brother.
Oh yeah,
and then
it was in the interrogation part where he's like, and this is what's funny. He gave him a lobster dinner in the interrogation thing with ice cream and everything, all the fixings, and he goes, Sean, this is a way. Even the FBI agent says this is a waste of time. He's not gonna fucking talk. And so he goes into the interrogation room. Sean does, covers up the microphone. He goes, bro, you're making me look bad. You're supposed to be ratting people out and snitching.
Yeah.
So what do you have? And next thing you know, they go to
and then next thing you know, he's in the convention center where the bomb actually is. And then he's telling the bomb squad, it's like, what? He asking the bomb, what do you recommend? Cut and run, y'all. Like essentially, like the bomb saw this guy's like cut and run. And he's like telling him to get out, and then he's playing he first time like he puts in the code and he messes it up, and he's like, whoops, and then he puts it in, and he's like just taking a sweet time because he knows he's gonna just finish it, and then he defuses the bomb. What?
Okay, remember when the bomb squad said this is gonna take us a couple of hours to cut through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it just me, or does that bomb seem like it's going awfully fast for them to go through a couple of hours?
I didn't pick up on that. I was like, like,
because the first initial thought is like, this is going to take me a couple of hours. It looks like you guys only have like less than 2 minutes to cut through something in order to make this thing work.
I think it only seemed fast is because Castor intentionally messed up typing in the login code, and that sped up the time. So I think, like I said, I think because it went from hours and then instantly minutes, like to 20 seconds, and because that's why I think he intentionally did it to say, "Hey, I saved the day in the last second. I'm a true American hero." And he comes in, he's having the interview with the thing, and he's like, "Oh, we're on and to call to anybody who did this ball, we intercepted the ball." It's like we say we intercepted the bomb. We have the ball now, or the ball's in our court, or whatever. He's like they're making a football reference, and it's just that was interesting. Yeah, and then you go back to Sean Archer like that, and then but before then it was like I said. I think this was one of the minor flaws I had is I think there's for the runtime was a little long, and there could have been a lot of stuff that like maybe they could have done to shorten it, like him reading his wife's diary, and then playing the date night, and then having sex with her.
Okay,
I think I was cut part of that off a little bit.
For me, that works because he doesn't know too much about Sean. All he knows is what's in his mind. So in order for him to be Sean, he has to get to know who his wife is, just like how he of course, he knows. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Sean knows who Nicolas Cage is, Castro is, and everything, but he doesn't know his brother that well. So he has to try and get to know his brother a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that's the same kind of context with Sean's wife. So he doesn't really know her. He just knows of her. So he's just trying to get to know her so that way he can actually put the moves on her. He goes, 3 months without getting any. How depressing.
Yeah.
He goes, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that one. I just, for me, it just felt like there's a lot of like times, and then this him, and then Sean Archer, like the real one in the prison, like just having like memories of stuff, and it's just like there could have been, like I said, these are minor. Like I said, I mean, it's not changing my tone of it. I just felt like in the terms of it, watching it again, like there could have been some stuff to cut down on the time a little bit of it. I mean, like I said, it's not a long short. It's like it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, like give or take. But like I said, they could have cut down a little, some minor parts, and the movie still would have flowed fine. But again, these are just minor things I've had. Like some stuff I'm like, I don't really think we needed this. I mean, we already know. We get the gist of what he's doing. I mean, like with the internet daughter. But then again, but after that sequence, that's when the movie just picks up. Like we go back to like the real Archer, and he's like, and he notices like, all right, we got to get out of here. He's realizing, all right, I'm done with this crap. I'm gonna do something. So he's like, goes up to the guard. I'm like, he's just looking around because he's the FBI agent. You know, he has a very good attention to details. Like he noticed the guard with the cigarette. And he's like, okay, that might be my way. So he's like, hey, I'm out of cigarettes. And the guard's like, get out of here. Hey, I'm out of cigarettes. So he starts a fight.
And then at that point, that's when they're planning on where the guy winds up helping Castor escape, Sean escape.
Yeah.
And of course, he jumps off the rig that he's actually on, and they think that he's dead. And then, right, and then of course, Sean gets the call saying that that Castor's been killed. He goes, well, where's the body? I want the body. Get me LAPD on it.
Yeah, and but again, the whole that action sequence was great. That was cool. It's like, it's not like your typical gun one, because Archer's trying not to kill these people, but and then it's like him doing that, and like him trying to like start out the outbreak, and then the sequence with the helicopter, and then he jumps off. And then he's like, get LAPD on this. Like, why? And then the Marker Cho character, Wanda, she's like, what? He's not stupid enough to come here. And he's like, he's about to touch her face, like that, like the weird thing that he does. He's like, trust me, he's already here. And then what do you know? How they go from wherever he was, I have no idea where this prison was in the sea, to go from there, how to all the way back into the same location the movie's taking place in. It's like, huh. Talk about movie magic. We're going from the rig to there. And I'm like, how is he not cold? Because that water must be freezing. And he must be a really good swimmer.
He must have been a great swimmer, actually. And how did he not get tired swimming? That's another thing. I mean, did someone pick him up? What's the deal here? Yeah. But yeah, he goes all the way to where LA is now. And
but then again, there was a ship on the because they're on a rig. There's a ship coming on the far left side. Like once he jumps off, there's a ship coming. So maybe they saw him jump off. Then again, I'm like, if they gave him a ride, they should have saw him with the prison outfit. I'm like, should we really give this guy a ride? I don't know, but again, this is like we're just coming up with questions. But then he steals a car, and he first calls up when he's calling up he calls up Eve. And he's trying to like get his voice thing fixed, and that's not working. And she's like, "Don't call here again." And then he tries to call his boss, and suddenly you see, what do you know? Sean, like Castor Troy, sitting in his boss's office. This is Sean Archer. Well, if you're Sean Archer, I guess that makes me Castor Troy. And then hangs up, and then Castor's like he's pissed. He's pissed.
And then at that point, Sean knows that he can't go to Eve's house or anything like that. So he goes on ahead, goes to Castor's place, where we actually have, that's actually in there. We see a bunch of crew. I actually love this. This whole entire setup is really good, because now we get to see it from the villain's perspective of it as well. So I actually like that.
He's like, Castor Troy, you're alive, man. And he's all like happy with him, and he's like, all right, yeah. Like he doesn't know what to do with him, and he's like, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
And then also too, he's like, so you're still selling drugs, huh? And just get over here. Your girl's still alive. That's just fantastic. Hey, everybody, Castor's back.
Yeah, everybody. He's like, hey, Castor, you remember me? It's some random chick that comes up to him. He's like, hey, remember me? And then he's giving him his stuff and asking him like, what do you want to do? Yeah, I want to, like, our main is we're trying to get Sean Archer. It's like, dude, man, he's good. Like, we're gonna attack him at his home. how do you know like so much about him? It was like, or
No,
like
he
first he
actually
talks about
gives.
what's the security code? It's his dead son's birthday, and it's like this nonchalant because it's really Archer that knows all this. He's portraying his caster, and he's like, how do you know everything about Sean Archer? I used to bone his wife.
And everybody just starts laughing their ass off at him. And then at that point, too, he's like,
Then he
"Okay, so
gets
after we
drugged.
do this, after we do this and everything, what are we gonna do?" Because I want his face
We're gonna
off,
take his face.
face off. And I was like, "Okay, that is really dark."
No more drugs for that man.
Right, but you can
He,
definitely tell that these guys are like psychopaths and everything too.
yeah,
And even that
yeah,
was too dark and grim for them on that level. You're like,
yeah.
whoa.
Face off. Yeah.
And then I like how Deacon does it though. He goes, "So you want his face off," like that. I thought that was actually funny. And
And
then
then he goes into the mirror. He's looking awkward at himself, and he's like smiling, like, and he grins like really awkwardly when he sees Sasha, like his girlfriend or whoever. I don't remember if they really mentioned if he was an ex-wife, a wife, or whoever. And a love interest for Castor, and then she just sucker punches and knocks him out cold. and then yeah. Then you have the more. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, then after that, that's actually when she introduces Adam to him
Well, I think
and
that's
everything.
before, like first, like I think before she introduces Adam, you go back to Castor. He's at home talking to Pollux, talking about like, man, he's like, we can't find him. We need like he's on the call with somebody, and then he's like, yeah, we make sure we need to kill somebody. And then he stares out, and he's like, sees his daughter, like the daughter get home, and he's with the boyfriend, which is
Oh yeah,
Hyde from that '70s show, and he's like, yeah, maybe two. I'll call you back. Good, happy hunting. He's like, the Hyde guy is trying to get with the daughter, and the daughter's like, no. Then all of a sudden, you see like the glass smatter, and he's beating the shit out of Hyde from that '70s show.
and you know what though? I actually here's the thing, right? I actually respect him on that. Is
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, maybe a psychopath, but underneath it all, I still have morals. I still have like a moral
yeah,
code.
yeah.
So
Because I
I
mean, he
definitely
cares
like
about his
that.
females. Because I don't think like he doesn't kill many. Like if he doesn't kill like the girls unless like he truly believes something. But no, he was protecting her in a sense and he's like talking about like and she's like blaming herself. I'm like, no, that's not on you. Maybe if you dress like stop dressing like that. Maybe like he goes, do you have protection? And she's like, what condoms? No. And he pulls out the switchblade. This randomly pulls out a switchblade. It's like, all right, next time, let him take his pants down first, stab this in his knee, twist it so the wound doesn't close, and he gives it to her. Yeah, no, go ahead and get out of here. And that's when he
Right.
gets the call. We found them. We found Castor Troy. So that goes back to the house where then he meets Adam, and then the like and then like this then the intuition of him. But again, this is what John Woo's really good at, like being able the heroes to be really like, right before it happens, like get down. That's when the FBI invades the house. They
Right.
found the
And,
location. And then we got another big action sequence.
right. But I like that whole entire setup where we actually have it to where, he's actually seeing Adam for the first time. He has a
Yeah, and
PTSD kind of
Michael.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, and saying Michael over and over again. The girlfriend pulls him away.
yeah,
And then at that point, that's also the action sequence of where Somewhere Over the Rainbow is playing through Adam's headset. And
yeah,
I actually love this action sequence because once again, they're face to face against each other, staring through a mirror,
yeah.
a
Well, I think
double-sided mirror.
the setup to it is just great. I mean, the whole action sequence of him, like when you see Sasha, you think, oh, she's that. No, she's actually mowing down people. Like she's pissed off. Like really, she's taking random guns, like kicking people in the balls. Like she knows how to handle her own. Like she's no like just damsel in distress. She was actually taking down some of these cops and telling Adam like she sees the cop and the Adam's touching the gun and he kicks him in the beats him up and like, I don't ever want to see you do it. And then you see, and then the action sequences were just great, slow motion stuff, like the Dietrich was holding his own, and that's what and then you see Archer come down there and he's got his gun pointed, and that's, you know, like the hatred for Dietrich is like he sees he's about to kill Sasha and the boy. Dietrich knows about it, so he jumps right in front of it, so he gets shot in the neck, like so you know, artery. In the artery, and then like, and he's like, and then he tells Art like his and he tells the like he's like, hey, you got to get out of here, and then you see the two of them kiss, like you didn't know if they had a relationship or what. That's what I think. That's where the brother sister relationship ended up being. It was like that was a weird moment, and then he goes to the caster who just takes off his hand like he knows he's done for. He's like, hey man, we had some great times. And then he dies. And then, well, the interesting thing is when Archer, like the real Archer, sees one of his buddies, Buzz. I think he was one of the ones that works with that Margaret Cho character. He's like, Buzz? He knocks him out intentionally. So he's like, crap, this is one of my buddies. I can't kill him.
Right. And then, you know, I definitely like that aspect as well. And then also too, we actually see Castor do this though too. He tells the FBI agents not to shoot because he has a kid in front of him. The FBI agent doesn't even shoot him.
No.
That was actually pretty cool. And then after that, you actually see another scene as well with the kid and everything too. Mm-hmm. And then after he gives the kid back or whatever, he unmasks one of the FBI agents that's coming through the roof. Yeah, and he actually goes on ahead, knocks him out with the gun, and then acts like he shoots him. And then at that point, it's like, oh, I told him to stop fucking with me.
Yeah. Then we get the mirror, and this is another one of those. Well, we can focus in on the end of it, but this is another one of those good, like epic, like. If you've seen a John Woo movie, you know this is happening. It's another. They're back to back, so it looks like the shot of it. They're back to back. They're just holding behind two edges, like two other sides of the mirror. And he's like, and then the caster is like, I don't know what I hate worst. I don't know what I hate wearing like worst, your face or your body. I do enjoy boning your wife, but we both like it the other way around. So he's like, it's just like, why don't we just go switch places? You be who you again, and that, and he like, and then Archer's like, you can't take away what have you already taken from me. He's like, oh well, plan B, let's just kill each other. I mean that's such a great line, and then the two of them get up and they try to shoot figure out where to shoot through the mirror to get them, and I thought that sequence is just so cool. It's one of those iconic moments in this movie, and it's just a great sequence.
It definitely is. And then after that, we actually get the whole entire scene where the Sean's boss is actually mad at him as Sean for the dead bodies.
This was after the other agent comes in with the grenade launcher, and our Castor brings his brother Pollux to the location. Pollux chases Archer. Pollux stands up at the top. Archer comes swinging in, kicks Pollux through the glass. He's dead because he falls so many feet. He's dead. And then once Castor finds out about it, you just see that angry look on Travolta, like, oh damn. And he starts, and then he absolutely nicks Archer in the the stomach area, and he's tying his shoe, and then the agent's like, "What are you so upset? This is Pollux Troy," and then the agent's instantly dead.
But yeah, he winds up shooting the FBI agent.
Yeah, and then that's when his boss gets pissed off at him for his war on crime. I think, like I said, this was before, he didn't kill Victor Lazaro yet. He gets on him for it, but then he goes to the sequence where when Archer has to go back to his house, and that's when he tries to have the conversation with the wife to get her to understand what's going on. She seems freaked.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because remember, this is when he winds up saying, "Hey, look, don't scream or anything." He goes, "The last time I was in this room,
yeah,
last time I was in this room, we had an argument about me going undercover one last time. I spent the night in Mike's room, and also too, my blood type is different than Castor's blood type. His is AB, mine is negative." And
I think it's like type 0 or something, or type O, and Castor's AB. And then then they must have gone back, or I don't know. It was like he must have killed. Oh yeah, I think what's happened was Castor killed Lazaro, and then he's telling him he's like, why what, you're not getting all the kudos, kudos like I am. And then he's looking around, he's looking around, and then he turns the blinds down, and then he's like, I gotta tell you something. And you're not gonna like it, because he sees the Lazaro holding his chest or whatever, because he knows he's something's wrong with his heart. I think he's probably had a heart problem, but you never knew until that moment. And that's when Castor picks up on it, and he's like, I am Castor Troy, and he kills him. He kills the boss, and he calls up,
right,
can you call paramedic? Lazaro just had a heart attack. Thank you.
Yeah, he jujitsu chop. He ends up karate chopping him right in the chest.
Yeah.
Judo chops him in the chest and everything, causing him to have a heart attack. So
that leaves him, Archer, really Castor potentially taking over the FBI. But and then it goes to the sequence where the wife is getting involved. And she that was kind of an interesting pen she had while she was reading. It looked like a pen. She just pricks Archer while Castor while he's sleeping, so she can find out for herself. And then when she realizes her mistake, Archer's really there waiting for her, and she's like, I took this gun from my fake husband. And he's like, what are you doing with the gun? Come on, I'm Sean. So then he does the story of probably how they met in their first date, and then that's when she realizes that he's really Sean, and he's like, here, let me fix that wound before you bleed to death. And then Castor wakes up, and he's like, where is she? And then they go, and then he's with his two goons. They're looking for her in the hospital. He's like, all right, no, he like I said, it looks like he's gonna be in line for the boss of the FBI. And then he's like, no, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the service. Tomorrow's the day. And that's what sets up the big final sequence.
Right. And then at that point, we see them both getting ready for the funeral and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. We have Sean that's asking where Jamie is. And that's when his wife says, what do I know? She took $50 from me. And she doesn't care about she doesn't even like going to Mike's grave. So what makes you think that she cares about your boss?
She's damn about your boss. And then you see Castor meet up with Sasha. It's like, hey, and how's Adam? He's fine. I took him to my cousins for this whole thing to blow over. He's like, no matter whatever happens, Sean Archer will be off your back. He's like, I lost my brother. I'm not gonna lose you too. And then you see during the service, you see the doves, and
right.
And then
I want to. Then but with the dubs and everything too, I thought, you can't have a John Woo film without the dubs in there flying around doing that. And then another thing too that I really liked was, you see Castor over there praying. He has his son's photograph and everything. And at that point, that's when after the funeral, that's when Castor and Sean both wind up having that shootout in the church. And
so it's
I definitely love that whole entire comedic this dark humor that Sean has. And he goes, how boring is this? And he does this whole entire thing of talking in Latin. That was actually pretty funny.
Isn't this religious? The battle between good and evil, saint and sinner. but you're still not having any fun. And then that's when he pulls out the gun. That's when the music kicks up. But it's like that's the whole sequence, the slow motion walking, him going into the church and praying with the image, him sending the altar boy the image to give to. It's like, here, somebody wanted me to give you this, and he just crumples up the photo, and he's just angry. And then you see like the doves. So any John Woo fan, anytime you see doves, usually it's a calm because you know something bad, like something big is about to happen. Like there's times you see doves, you expect some bloodshed because that's essentially what it was. Like that's one of his trademarks. And then the shootout, and then like the brief shootout, and then he stopped and going, honey, and then he brings out Eve, and guess what? Your daughter's on the way. So the kind of that, and then he's standing there. Like Castor's pointing the gun at Eve, and then Archer's pointing the gun at him. Then the other guy's like, "Why don't you put your guns down?" So you got a big death circle in a sense, a Mexican standoff, which is another trope for John Woo. And everybody's like the camera angles of everybody, and then Sasha comes in with the guns, like, "Hey, baby."
Another thing
okay, ahead.
But the another thing that I thought that was actually funny though is this: you actually have the two bodyguards that are bringing in Jamie. I'm like, okay, so now they work for the FBI now. No one's checking background checks or anything like that to let these two guys.
I mean, the FBI was at this. This is a funeral for the FBI, but and then you have like everybody's like there, and Sasha's like, it's like, and you know, like Archer, like, and Archer's like, Sasha, what the fuck are you doing here? Well, gee, Archer, I guess I'm crashing, and then like, gee, Archer, I guess I'm crashing, and it's like, you okay? I guess it's like, Sasha, let me let you know this. I'm Castor. That's Archer. And I'm bored. Why don't you put the guns down? So everybody's pointing guns at each other. Like,
and then two you have other bodyguards that come in, and he's pointing the gun over at Castor. And then Sean's like, what a predicament.
What a predicament. And then I think how they shot the sequence was awesome. And then all of a sudden you see Sasha cover Eve, like, to get her out of the way because she's a bystander. And next, all you hear, guns go off, eyes click, that Eve hits Archer with the chair, and then all of a sudden, and then you see like somebody dive backwards. Then you wake, and then when it's done, you see Archer trying to grab a gun. Eve is on top, like not Eve. Eve is sitting there shucking like what just happened. Sasha's sitting on top of Castor because I think she took a bullet for him, and she's like, take care of Adam. Don't let him grow up to be that. And then all of a sudden you see her die because then you see blood coming out. He pulls her off her, and then that's when the rest of the action sequence continues. Like,
what though? I actually liked it. I also like it when I actually see Nicolas Cage actually does the little flip and
the flip after he shoots the gun a couple times, and then he flips and then continues. You know what I mean?
That's actually
that was awesome.
One of my favorite things.
That was awesome. Like he did that, like the flip, and then that's what it led to, like the continuous shootout between the two of them while Jamie's going up, and then Jamie looks at Castor thinking that's the one that shot her brother, and it wasn't, and then two of them start fighting, and then while you see a phone call Eve is having with an FBI agent, Wanda. Eve, also, I got something crazy to tell you. Yeah.
Also, too, this is also when he pushes Jamie down the stairs to protect her.
Yeah.
She falls down the stairs.
She fall down. She could snap her neck by doing that. I mean,
right. He pushes her down the stairs. She gets up, and at that point, she thinks that, I forgot. Is it Sean that actually has her, with the gun pointed to her head, or was it Castor?
It was Castor. It was like, so eventually, like, Sean, who's Castor at this point, like the Nicolas Cage character, has her and trying to protect her. She breaks free, and then the two of them start fighting, I think it's it's Jamie. Jamie had the gun pointed at both of them because like two of them were like that, and then you hear Archer's voice come back, in from under Caster. He's like, Tom, do you know what the penalty is for killing the for the next head of the FBI? Penalty's death. And you hear Travolta's voice come back, and then that's when he's like, please God, die. Like you hear the voice, and then she's like, hold it, like, and the two of them start speaking Travolta. So she doesn't know which one to hit. She ends up clipping the real Archer. And he's like, Claude, like no daughter of mine would shoot like that. And then Caster has the gun pointed at Jamie. It's like, Dad, put the gun down. and then when Eve walks out, right when she sees this, he's like, no, we're about to find out what's in Papa's bag. Peaches, and he starts licking her cheek, not knowing. She's like, say bye to Papa. And then she pulls out this switchblade and uses it what he told her to do.
Right. She takes it, puts it in his leg, twists it just like he told her to do, and then all of a sudden it's on this wild speed chase with the boat and everything.
Are you okay, sir? And then the fake Archer kills the two agents and picks up their gun, and he's limping because he's in pain. And then the explosion with the speedboats, and then the speedboat chase, and then there ends up being one speedboat because the other one crashes and blows up. It's a great action sequence, and then they hit a thing, and the two of them start flying to the sand yard area, and that's when the final confrontation was between the two of them, and they're beating each other up, and then the real Archer is
trying to get to the harpoon gun. Yeah. This is when Archer's trying to get to the harpoon gun and everything, and that's when he tries to shoot Archer with the harpoon gun, and then Archer catches it, and then all of a sudden he goes, you want to see my face? And then he just starts doing incisions around his face.
No matter what happens, you will always see my face. And then he starts that, and then he kicks him in the groin area. Then he gets stabbed in the harpoon. Then the last thing you hear Caster sing, "Ready for the Good Ride, Baby," which I mentioned earlier in the review. So anytime something bad happens, he sings that song. And then you see him there, and then you see the two FBI agents, Wanda, and I think that might have been Buzz, come up to him and like, "You okay, Archer?" He goes, What'd you call me?" "He called you Archer, sir." That's when you realize he was at risk because they know he's the real guy. And then Eve and Jamie show up, and then they said, he's like, they're bringing their best surgical team. You're gonna be okay.
And at that time, Arthur, at that time and everything, Sean is okay now. He puts his wedding ring back on. He tells the doctor that he doesn't need the mark on his body anymore, that his son took the bullet for him anymore. Then, of course, you see this scene play out where it's just a shadow at the Archer home. And basically, you actually just see a John Travolta shadow walking through the window. And then he opens the door. Jamie answers the door. And she goes, "I'm sorry for stabbing you."
I'm sorry for shooting you.
Yeah, and then he does this weird thing with the face thing that he always does. I'm like, I still want to get this. I was actually watching the commentary, wondering what that actually meant, what that symbolized. But there's a lot of face touching there. This was definitely pre-COVID. You know, but
I mean, the ending for me, this hits so close to home because it just reminds me of seeing the sequence of him walking. This remind me of my loss. So I was just remembering this. It got me upset, because I was crying a little bit too because it reminds me every day I keep thinking, he's coming, but he's not. But like I said, the ending really hits home to me now. And like I said, I was having a hard time watching the rest of this. Like years ago, I had a hard time. Months ago, I had a hard time watching the end of this movie because it hit so close to home. And then he brings out Adam. He's like, "Hey, Adam, somebody needs Adam needs a place to stay." So he's kind of he's gone over the part. He still grieves for Michael, but he thinks we need to take care of him. So he has something in his life to take care of.
Right. I felt like at that point in his life, he's actually healed now from Mike and everything. Yeah. So now he actually has a son now because of that whole entire thing. And that's what I liked about it. It was about healing. It was self-healing for that. I really liked that. And then Jamie does the weird thing with the face touching and then
Yeah,
it
and it's
cuts
like
to the end.
yeah. Um,
And
again, like I said, this is yeah.
you know what it seemed like to me with some of the themes though for this though? If you actually listen to the Crow soundtrack with the score,
Mm-hmm.
whenever Archer is actually praying in the church,
Mm-hmm.
Castor is praying in the church, it felt like it had like a Crow kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then if you listen to the movie with Wesley Snipes and Robert De Niro, that
Yeah.
whole entire thing towards the end, it had that same kind of music score
Mm-hmm.
that to me that movie had and
Yeah.
everything. If you actually listen to them, but I thought the movie was fantastic. Like I said, I went and
It's
saw this
so
movie when I was a kid and
mm-hmm.
everything. I was like maybe 11 years old when I saw this in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
seeing it on the big screen was definitely a great time at the movie theaters. I enjoyed it a lot. Another thing too
It still
is
holds up.
if you guys are wondering about the boots that are magnetized, it has a
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Brothers kind of vibe. And matter of fact, John Woo actually borrowed from the Super Mario
Yeah.
Brothers movie and made those boots so the way it would actually be magnetized. So I thought that was
Yeah.
actually pretty cool. But I know that you had some signature stuff that you actually wanted to talk about with John Woo.
Oh yeah. If anybody is a fan of John Woo, there's a video on YouTube. I think it's a pretty cool video. It shows his trademarks. So John Woo's got these trademarks that he puts in almost all of his movies. Originally, these started out in international waters. Like this is how Chow Yun Fat became like he's famous in international because he's an absolute badass in a lot of these movies. He's done various fantastic action movies from The Killer, which is a great movie. Like he's like the pistols. Like John Woo's got always loves these 92 Berettas. Almost all his movies, he always has the Beretta, and that's the weapon that's always been used because he's like that. And he always like he loves having the dual pistols because he wants the more pistols means more carnage. So like John Woo's all about the carnage in a sense, and slow motion. He loves slow motion. Like this movie gets you slow motion, like diving in slow motion, shooting in slow motion. He wants you to really like feel an effect. We mentioned doves. Like he loves the doves. He calls them a time for peace. Before and then like I said, I forgot the real thing. But you know, when you see doves, I'm like, something bad's gonna happen. And like in a sense, like bloodshed about to happen. And then the Mexican standoff. He loves that. Like in almost all the movies, like many like the two guys pointing guns at each other, like right that, or that circle sequence, that was from Hard Boiled. Like Chow Yun Fat is holding a gun and two other guys are holding guns. So it's the Chow Yun Fat effect. So he's like figured out who's gonna shoot first. Like he's got so many of these trademarks. Oh, the back to back, the mirrors. He did one before Face Off and Hard Target. The sequence with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Arnold Veloso. The two of them against like Boudreaux, where have you been? I've been looking for you. You've been looking the wrong places. And you see the two of them like reloading their guns right before they're about to like shoot for the mirrors. Like again, you can find this on YouTube. But if you're a big John Woo fan, you know to pick up on these like little like trademarks because every like and at some point every director has got one. Just John Woo's has got a ton, and like he likes to implement in this movie because they're just awesome. Like I said, John Woo's like one of my like. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, John Woo's actually one of my favorite directors as well. Another thing I want to actually bring up: there's actually an extended ending in this movie. And I'm just going to say this. This extended ending sucks. I'm glad that they didn't go about doing this ending. It ends up where, of course, we have Travolta going into the whole entire scene where he talks about Adam and everything else, taking him in. And then after that, it goes into the bedroom scene where Eve is actually getting ready for bed. Sean is getting ready to brush his teeth and everything. He's staring into the mirror. His wife comes in. And then next thing you know, you see Castor Troy in the mirror while Travolta is actually standing there brushing his teeth. And at that moment, here's the thing. It would actually work if this was like a horror movie, but this is not a horror movie or anything like that. So seeing that in an action film, it was like, okay, what kind of movie are you actually trying to be? What's your identity that this movie is actually telling me that you want to be? So I'm glad that they didn't do that because at that point, we have Sean's wife that comes in and she screams because she also sees Castor's image in the
Yeah.
mirror,
Yeah.
and then Sean just looks at her, and that's it, and it cuts to black.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't go about that route
Yeah. Yeah,
at
and it's
all.
also interesting because if you listen to our stereo conversation, how I mentioned about how they're going to do the sequel, I briefly mentioned how Lazaro's dead, and now there's a new vacancy for the head of the FBI, which I'm suspecting, like I said, you bring back Travolta's character and you bring him back as Archer, and he's the head of the FBI, so you don't see him in the
Right.
action as much, and have somebody either under him. And I suggested Adam, since he had the
Right.
fascination with the guns. He's had the fascination with the guns, like don't touch that.
Right.
So he could be in the FBI. He works under his dad, his stepdad, and he's the one that or
And
something happens. Yeah, he goes under the whatever the new whatever they're gonna do for the sequel. He goes under the feint to go undercover, and Archer's the one telling him don't do this. So that's what I
exactly.
said in the stereo, which I think it could work. Like you
Right.
gotta at least have some from this movie back if you're gonna do a sequel. I mean, completely
Another
not
thing
call it a
though
sequel.
too,
Yeah,
I want to bring up is if you guys are one to listen to that stereo episode that we did, I actually have it on the audio only podcast now. That's actually where you get your podcast from. You guys can actually listen to
yeah,
that now because I
yeah,
actually transferred it from stereo over into
yeah.
that whole entire thing for that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys are interested in it, go in and give that a listen because we do a lot of speculation on it. We have a lot of fun with it. Not only that,
Yeah,
but I also mentioned the fact that maybe this is also another undercover thing where nobody knows anything about. Then, of course, we have Sean that's trying to talk his son out of doing this undercover thing because of what happened to him. Because get this, he doesn't probably know what exactly happened to Sean. He just knows little bits and pieces, so he doesn't know exactly everything. So Sean
exactly.
is actually giving him the advice. Think of it like Rocky Balboa with the manager Nick, who's actually giving him advice, giving his
Mm-hmm.
son advice, and saying, "Hey, look, kid, you don't need to be going under the knife or anything like that. I've done that before. It's very dangerous, but there's no other way to get on this level to get this guy to talk or get his goons to talk. So we have to do
Yeah.
something instead of nothing, because doing nothing also
Mm-hmm.
has consequences too. So now he goes under the knife. Same thing that actually happens and everything. And now he has to try and get his identity back. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's something else. So,
Yeah.
we have a lot of fun with these speculations. I actually like having fun with this, especially now when there's actually sequel talk actually going on
Yeah.
now. And it's no
It's
longer
not
going
a
to be a
reboot.
reboot, it's going to be a sequel. Yeah. So,
Well, and it's just interesting tidbit is the original two guys that are supposed to be in Face Off were actually rivals back then, and that's Sylvester
yep.
Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger were supposed to be in this movie, which I would have been intrigued on. Two of the guys two of the biggest action stars in that time period in the same movie. I'm like, I would have been intrigued on that, but
Me too.
it's still
Like I told
yeah,
you earlier when I told you that those two were
yeah,
actually in the same movie together, I would have actually liked to see that. I wanted to know maybe which character would actually be Castor and which one would have been Sean. I'm thinking
yeah.
that Stallone would have probably been Castor and Arnold would have been Sean. That's just me.
Which would have been
But
weird, because Archer's kind of like he's very vulnerable, and Schwarzenegger just doesn't seem like that type of guy. I mean, because Schwarzenegger hasn't been that type of a character. He wasn't that until like Collateral Damage,
Channing
a couple I think, yeah, like 4 years later. So it would have been interesting. Again,
or
like I
Channing
said, we'll
5 years
never
later.
know.
Because
Yeah,
don't forget, we actually saw Arnold Vulnerable. Well, sorry if I'm butchering that word, but the last time we actually saw him cry in something was the movie Maggie, which is like 12 years ago, which is
yeah,
like a zombie apocalypse type movie where his daughter is actually slowly and turning into a zombie, and he's
yeah.
trying
He
to find
did
a
cry
cure
a
for her.
little. Yeah. He was a little upset in that movie Sabotage, though. But
Yeah,
the
that too.
the ending though, that was the highlight of that movie for me. I'm not gonna say it, but you got classic Schwarzenegger in that sequence. But anyway, but those are the two guys. But like I said, if this is a revisit review, I still think it holds up to this day.
Okay.
I mean, out of 10, it's an easy 9 for me. 9 out of 10.
Okay.
If it's out of 5, it's 4.5. Like I said, this
Yeah, I'm
movie,
gonna go.
the
For me,
action is
I'm gonna
fantastic.
go.
Like the action is solid in this movie. This like I said, everything's solid in this movie. Yeah, there's some minor stuff, but is it gonna drop my score? No. It's 4.5 out of 5. It's easily a 9 out of 10 for me. It's just so good.
And let's see, for me, I'm gonna go like a 4.5 out of 5 for me as well. Because yeah,
Yeah.
the action sequences hold up still. The dialogue is still fresh. It didn't really feel like it was forced. There was like maybe a little small tidbits here and there whenever you looked at small minor stuff, but that small minor stuff outweighs everything else. You know,
Like
so
yeah,
everything else outweighs it. Yeah.
like the action sequences are like the highest, and like you said, they're ranked higher. And these small things are just like somebody wearing body armor, pew pew pew, like nothing. It's like
Right.
essentially Castor Troy in the very beginning of this movie. He is God mode. Nothing could hit him. He was instantly diving in slow motion, shooting, and nothing was hitting him. It was like he was just bouncing off him. Like that's essentially the action sequences. Nothing was going to hurt us. So, I mean, and it's an interesting story, like an interesting idea that still kind of holds up to this day. I mean, like they said, this yeah, technology's changed, but back when 1997 hit, no one thought of this idea. And like I said, and
No,
it kind of and it was like it's an interesting idea, so it's easily like this is definitely like at least for me a 4.5.
I agree, Rossi, on that too. I actually like it and everything too. It's definitely a strong 5 for a good action movie. I do agree with you on
Yeah,
that.
I
So
like I'm sticking with a solid 4.5 for me. I just
me
can't
too.
like I can just can't make it a 5 because I don't want to seem like fives all the way,
Right.
but it's 4.5s, like
That's the same for
easily.
me. I don't give fives all the time. The last movie I gave
No,
fives to was Judas and the Black Messiah. That was like the last movie I gave a 5 to. And
my
that was
last
just
five
because
was yeah, my last 5 was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love that movie.
yeah, that movie was good. We're gonna have to do a review on that one day, you and I,
Yeah,
because
I
I would
did.
like
I
to
remember.
actually do
I
it.
think I wrote it for the page a while ago. Forgot when, but I remember.
Right.
I remember did it like it was like 20 years. So yeah, we'll have to revisit that. I mean, I've seen that movie. I saw it twice in theaters, and I watched it again at home. And I
Okay.
bought it. I watched it not too long ago. So I mean, it's like it never gets old. I mean, it's so
Yep.
entertaining.
All right, so that's gonna be it for the show and everything. But guess what, guys? Tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern, which would actually be 12 o'clock Pacific Time, I'm gonna have Curtis from Listen, Listen, Listen. We're gonna be doing a 25th anniversary to Happy Gilmore tomorrow. So we're gonna be reviewing Happy Gilmore, and then at 8 o'clock Central Time, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, Charlie and I are going to be reviewing the movie. What's that movie, Charlie?
Outside the Wire.
Outside the Wire. As a matter of fact, I actually had the privilege to do a trailer reaction review for this because Netflix actually asked me to do a trailer reaction review for Under the Wire. I felt honored to do that, and I did that. That's actually on the channel. So tomorrow, we're actually going to get a chance to review this film. This film is not going to be Oscar worthy. It's not going to be anything that I
Not
would
gonna be
actually put
5.
on my list. Not a
Not gonna be
five
5 out of 5. Not no like
but
you got Face Off here, then you got this the here. So
But that's what we have planned for tomorrow night. Another thing, too, guys, is if you guys want to go on ahead, go to the GoFundMe page with the links below. Another thing, too, is we're actually sponsored by Audible. Get you guys a 30-day trial and everything on us for 30 days. Read whatever you want to read. Go on and check that out. And then, of course, you guys can follow me at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Instagram, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Pinterest. And then you can also follow me on Movie Lovers Unit over there, and also on stereo as well at Movie Lovers Unit. And then you can also follow me at John DeGorio 8 on Twitter as well. We are having some other things in the works. Matter of fact, I have to do a little small business meeting with Mike, who actually does the Mafia talks with me and everything on Monday. So we're going to be talking certain things. So I can't wait to actually announce what I'm going to be announcing pretty soon. And then, of course, if you guys want to, go in and sign up for the Patreon that we have. We have a $10 tier, a $20 tier, and a $5 tier. So figure out which one best suits you. How do you do that? You just go to www.patreon.com/Movie Lovers Unite. Pick out which one you want, and that's what we'll do. So anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you, Rossi. Thank you, Tara, for coming into the show, into the group chat and everything. We do appreciate that. And always, until next time, bye-bye.